In this video, we are going to bring an image into Maya to use it as a silhouette so that I don't have to model or create geometry and instead apply the image to a just single plane. And to start, I have this image here. I just got it from the web, and I just created a black and white version of it that is just simply a flat image, and I'm bringing that image into Maya. So I'm going to go back to Maya and try to get my Maya file ready. And I'm here in Maya now, and I'm going to create just like a plane that will give me that image. In this case, I'm not going to do a square because my image is already a rectangle. So if I look in my Photoshop file, and see, you can look at my size here. The image size here, I have it's a very small image in size, and the resolution is pretty high actually, but it's 300 pixels per inch. But it's about 612 at 289. So I'm going to try to maintain those proportions. 612 by 289. I'm writing it down here so I don't forget. So make sure it's not change. Oh, back to Photoshop. Yes, it's so. It was changed on me for some reason. Alright, so I'm going to go back into Maya. I'm going to make an object that's going to use it as in proportion. So I'm going to say it's going to be on X 612, and on Z it's going to be 2.89, and on Y it doesn't matter because on Y it's not thick, it's just a plane. And I'm going to change how many subdivisions. I don't need that many. I'm just going to go just with 2, not 22. So this object has already the same proportions of my actual object. And I'm going to get my grid there. I'm going to open it right there, scale it up proportionally. I'm going to say modify face transformations. That way it scales back to 0, but it still has the right proportions. I'm going to rotate it, holding my J key to rotate it in increments. I think it's 15 degrees. And I'm going to connect to it a shader in my hyper shade here. I'm going to use it's actually a Maya shader that is called the let me look at it here, the surface, and we are going to use the surface shader. And the surface shader, we're going to just assign it to the plane. And you'll see the surface shader comes with let me just bring my window closer here. There we go. I'm going to click on my surface shader, look at the attribute for it. So it has a color and it has a transparency node to it. So I'm going to connect to the color that file, the PNG file that has no transparency in it, it's just simply a black and white image. Let's call this one 3-line flat. And I'm just going to just look at it. If I have, I'm going to put a sky down here. So I'm going to just render that out. I was testing it before, so here as you get a little line on the top. I'm going to verify that in Photoshop to see what's that. But you see the image right there. It's just white right now. There is no transparency on it. If I change the color for sky dome, you will discover that the image is just white on that red background. So what we need to do here is we need to connect that same color to the transparency. So I grab the color and I connect it to the transparency right there. And now I'm going to test it out. You see the white area disappears. You may go and work in Photoshop so that you can have So right now my image has a little bit of blurriness, and you can see my pixels, all those gray little lines, gray little guys, are not helping much. And part of it is also because the image is small. If I have a high resolution image, I probably wouldn't see those gray lines there. But even thinking of this being an object to be far in the distance, say for example, I'm going to have my ground plane, which is going to be just massive ground plane. And I'm just going to go and look at my trace here, move in the distance, just like that. Let me scale this up a bit more, and I just simply duplicate that object a number of times. You can flip it over, you can do all sorts of things to, or have two different images and then go running back and forth. So now I can just go and render out my object in the distance there, my trees in the distance. Yes, I'm seeing the outline there, but the outline is because the image is too low res quality. Let me get rid of this red sky dome, and then I'm just going to put simply a physical sky, and we'll render out a physical sky. You see there in the distance they start looking a lot better, and you can manipulate you know, the color of the object. Of course, if you do Photoshop, you make it gray, they will be a bit less dark, a bit more grayish, so you have a chance to play with it. You also have the option of coming here and modifying under the image, modifying some of the color balance options. And there is exposure and all that. You probably don't want to be playing with that, because that changes your effect there. But if you have, for example, the color gain, and you decide to make your trees more like maybe a bit darker from that same gray, or maybe part of the gray better, then let's try to do it. Let's say the color offset again. I'm going to grab it from this gray. So you start getting your trees to connect to your environment somewhat. Again, I have the lines there. I just need to correct the white line there. Again, is the product of the low res image that I have here. You can see them right there. Those little gray pixels. So if you have a high resolution image, it should be much better. Okay, hopefully this gives you guidance to create a good transparency plane to mimic some background trees.